here for a whole week! Can you believe it?
Shantae and the Seven Sirens is the 5th entry in the franchise you've probably never heard of, and I'm here to change that. Since her debut on the Game Boy Color in 2002, Shantae has taken a lot of inspiration from the gameplay style of Castlevania and Metroid, but has slowly evolved and, in my opinion, perfected the gameplay style with her latest title. But before we dive into the gameplay, I have to talk about how this game looks. Half-Genie Hero, the last Shantae game released in 2016, was the first entry for the franchise in a hand-drawn art style instead of a pixel art one, and Seven Sirens is an effective step up from that. With cutscenes done by legendary animation firm Studio Trigger, several breathtaking hand-illustrated locales both above ground and underground, and even some implementation of cel-shaded 3D graphics, Shantae might be one of the best-looking indie games out there. Although a lot of the in-game animations are definitely computer-assisted, it's not really noticeable when there are several enemies on screen and an incredible soundtrack playing as you whip around. Jake Kaufman, composer for Shovel Knight, has worked on the series in the past, and has definitely taught some composers over at WayForward well for Seven Sirens. I mean, bops have to be playing when Shantae's idle animations involve swaying her hips. Shantae is a half-genie belly dancer, and the main mechanic in most of her games has always been transforming into animals to traverse dungeons. Seven Sirens is no different, but there's a few twists. For one, each animal has 2 distinct actions instead of 1. For example, the newt transformation lets you dash in midair and stick to or walk up and down walls. And instead of animals being mapped to a selection wheel after dancing, they have their own button mapped, so you can transform instantaneously instead of having to wait using the dance animation. Without needing to dance to transform into animals, Shantae's dancing in Seven Sirens instead affects the environment around her. There are dances to reveal hidden items and pathways, heal or rejuvenate people or withered plants, and several more as you continue to work with the other half-genies on the island. This is all made easier when you use a controller, which I highly recommend. Although it's really muscle memory after a bit, Metroidvania games can get really difficult at times, and having to pay attention to where you tap your thumbs takes up more time and is definitely less accurate than if you connect a controller. Luckily, it doesn't take long for this game to get easier. If you're a collector like me and feel the need to get every gem and hit every enemy, enemies drop cards that give you buffs, and you'll be rolling in dough that you can spend on upgrades to your attacks in the shop. Once I got about 20% through the game, I already had the max upgrades for all of my attacks. The real challenge is getting enough health to truly feel invincible. The health system in this game is similar to heart pieces in The Legend of Zelda. Find 4 heart squid, and that's 1 additional heart to your overall health. Also like The Legend of Zelda, enemies can do 1 or several quarter hearts of damage for their attacks, up to 2 full hearts for those really strong boss attacks. Speaking of bosses, the story. This usually takes a back seat to the dungeons in Shantae, but I'm seriously impressed with how much WayForward was able to add in Seven Sirens. Not only are there a ton more characters that stick with you throughout the course of the game, but they are all written and designed distinctly based on the towns they come from. They also help you defeat most of the game's bosses, the Seven Sirens, who all reside underground beneath Area Town. I don't want to give away too much about the story, but I can say that the game keeps it mysterious, and there are definitely some unexpected twists, and it may be one of the most engaging story experiences from Shantae yet. Unfortunately, this game is not for everyone. Metroidvania-style games are high involvement, high energy, and high stakes. And because this game may be one of the only ones to still not support autosaving, I couldn't recommend this game to the average player. But if story is enough to get you through a gaming hardship, you have an affinity for cartoony art styles, or you just like fast-paced action, Shantae and the Seven Sirens is a great game for you. I definitely enjoyed my time playing it, as a fan of the franchise, and Shantae definitely looks and plays the best she ever has.